Good morning, lovelies. Let's talk about the law. Jesus, coffee. So, reading through Matthew 5 this morning, I hit a passage that God just pumped the brakes on and said, okay, that's what I want you to focus on. It's so cool the way he does it. Anyway, so from 17 to Matthew 5, 17 to 20. He went through and, good morning, Janice. How are you doing? Talked about how Jesus didn't come to give us the law, came to fulfill the law. So I want to go into that and a couple of really big takeaway points that I got from the commentary about that. So do not think that I came to destroy the law or prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. He didn't come to get rid of the Ten Commandments. Don't think that he did. Don't think that because we're under the grace of Christ, the Ten Commandments go away. That's not what he's saying. For assuredly, I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. A jot and a tittle, what he's saying there, they're the tiniest little marks in the writing, in how the law was scribed. They're the tiniest little marks. So what he's saying there is what seems like the most insignificant mark, not even that insignificant mark will pass away. That's what he's saying. It's all significant. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so, false prophets, guys, danger, 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 shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Wow. That's a strong point because the scribes and the Pharisees were the religious leaders. So it's not about how much religion you know. It's about your relationship, your righteousness through Christ, right? That's what it's all about. It's not about, hey, I go to church. There's going to be a lot of people that stand in churches that are going to be left behind when the rapture comes because they're religious. They're not in a relationship. Now, I'm not judging, guys. I'm just saying that there are a lot. I watched a video yesterday of an atheist who goes to church all the time, but an atheist. And he goes to church to be there to support his wife. And then God called him. So he up on stage and gave his life to Christ. It was a beautiful video. So a couple of takeaways that I want to read from the commentary that really wrap this up. So the law was not given as a means of salvation. And when we're saying the law, guys, 10 Commandments. It was designed to show people their sinfulness and then drive them to God for his gracious salvation. So that wasn't a checklist for do this, 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 or don't do this, 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 and this. It's a guide to show us how sinful we are and then drive us to God in his grace for our salvation. Get that? With me on that? It was given to the nation of Israel, even though it contains moral principles which are valid for people in every age. Get a load of this. This blew me away. God tested Israel under the law as a sample of the human race. And Israel's guilt proved the world's guilt. So he tested his own people with the law as a benchmark for what the world was going to do. That was mind-blowing moment. And here's the part that really hit home and really left a mark on me this morning. Yet while the Christian is not under the law, actually I want to back up one sentence ahead. It is in this sense that the law has faded away for the Christian. The law was a tutor until Christ came, but after salvation, this tutor is no longer needed. So we're not under the law, we're under Christ's grace. We're under God's grace through Christ. Yet while the Christian is not under the law, that doesn't mean he's lawless. Hear that, guys. He is bound by a stronger chain than law because he is under the law of Christ. His behavior is molded not by fear of punishment, but by the loving desire to please his Savior. Christ has become his rule of life. And there are a chain of verses that they reference there, like John 15:12, which I'll go into really quick. Just kind of give you an idea. He actually talks about John 13:15, which in reference to John 13, that's actually where Jesus is washing the disciples' feet before he goes to Garden of Gethsemane. So 13:15 says, For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Meaning, wash and serve others. Okay, so he's showing there that we should be serving others, not worrying about being served. And then John 15:12, where he's talking about love and joy being perfected. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. So you see, guys, he didn't come to abolish the law. He actually came to fulfill the law. And when we talk about the 10 Commandments, 9 of those 10 Commandments are valid for Christians today. The only commandment in the original 10 Commandments that's not valid is the Sabbath. And the commentary actually spoke about that, and I just had this conversation with somebody the other day about how Sabbath doesn't apply to us as believers now. The one commandment not repeated is the Sabbath law. Christians are never taught to keep the Sabbath. So 9 of those 10 commandments still very valid for us today. The only of the original 10 commandments that are in Exodus 20 through 31 is Sabbath. Because you saw in Jesus' ministry, Jesus had healed people on the Sabbath. So he gave us that, example of Sabbath didn't apply to Jesus. And we're little Christs as Christians. What it means, little Christ. Well, if the Sabbath didn't apply to Jesus and he was the model for Christians, Sabbath doesn't apply to us. So 9 of those 10 commandments are still in play, but there's actually 11, guys, because what did Jesus say? Love the Lord when asked, what is the greatest command? Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And the next is just like it, love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2, all the law and prophets hang. So it doesn't matter how you nail in the rest of them. Better nail 1 and 2 first. Because all the rest of them hang on 1 and 2. So I love you guys. I know he loves you. Again, he just must not want me to break down the model prayer. Because I couldn't get in the Word, and as I'm getting ready to read through, he's like, I got a better idea. All right, Lord, you got a better idea. I love you guys. I know he does. We'll be back tomorrow with whatever Dad wants to talk about.